I'm a full day behind, I know, and I apologize. Yesterday was just an extremely busy day. Classes like literally from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It was a mess yesterday. There was a lot going on. I had a lot to do. That's why everything's been pushed back, and I'm doing a big video today. Anyways, we have a lot to talk about. There's been a lot that's happened in the last 48 hours or so. And we're going to talk about them all. We're going to talk about the new All-Star Race location, which is North Wilkesboro, if you didn't know that already. We're going to talk about Kevin Harvick's Twitter rampage. And we're going to talk about more Kyle Busch stuff and Kyle Busch directly responding to it on social media. I feel like the NASCAR version of TMZ, looking at drivers' social medias and breaking them down. Didn't think that would happen on this channel, but here we are. Anyways, let's talk about the big news first. That is North Wilkesboro. North Wilkesboro, of course, was a long-time track in NASCAR, which hosted 93 Cup Series races from 1949 to 1996 when Jeff Gordon, this guy, won the last race there. That track was replaced by Texas Motor Speedway, of course. Late 90s, early 2000s, lots of moves were made. New tracks came in. Some of the older tracks, North Wilkesboro, Rockingham, just to name a couple, were removed from the schedule, and tracks like Texas Motor Speedway, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Kansas Speedway, some of these mile-and-a-halves came in to replace these, historic NASCAR tracks. And, it upset a lot of fans, I'm sure. I wasn't around for it, but I'm sure it upset some fans. But, it did bring about new places, new locations for NASCAR to go. Going to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas, going out west, Las Vegas. So it did broaden NASCAR's horizons a bit. But NASCAR has expressed in the last few years they want to go back to their roots. They want to go back to short tracks. Short tracks has been something the fans have wanted a lot of. There used to be so many mile-and-a-half tracks on the schedule. 2 Las Vegas dates, 2 Kansas dates, Homestead, 2 Texas dates, Kentucky, Chicago. I don't know. The point being, there used to be a lot of mile-and-a-halves on the NASCAR schedule, and people, they wanted to diversify it, whether it's short tracks, road courses. Well, we got the road courses. We got, 5 or 6 road courses on the schedule this year and have had that for the last 2 or 3 years. Short tracks are starting to make a comeback. As I said, we've had the LA Coliseum as the preseason race for the Clash. Bristol has been turned into a dirt race, actually. So, the NASCAR schedule has actually broadened quite a bit. But then last year, maybe not even a full year, talks about bringing North Wilkesboro were coming back. Not necessarily this year or next year, but talks of, reviving the track and putting some race cars, not necessarily NASCAR, but, late model cars, whatever it may be, onto that racetrack. And so they kind of revamped the facility, got it ready for racing. And the whole month of August, there was racing on the old pavement, and it went extremely well. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a part of it. There was funding from the North Carolina government. The governor signed a bill of $30 million or something to fund racing in North Carolina, especially North Wilkesboro. So that was obviously a big deal. And then SMI got on top of it as well with Marcus Smith. So, all of a sudden, North Wilkesboro is looking pretty good. They had a great attendance, it looked like, at the North Wilkesboro races, especially the one that Dale Earnhardt Jr. himself raced in. I didn't watch any of it, but, from what I heard, it got a lot of positive feedback. The only complaints really were the traffic was a mess. The facilities were still old. Like for the fans and stuff, bathrooms, concessions, all that. So, yeah. But then, Wednesday night, there's a report, or not even a report, there's a release that there's going to be an announcement on Thursday morning about something at North Wilkesboro. Marcus Smith's going to be there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be there. The governor of North Carolina is going to be there. What could this possibly be? Well, just a couple hours later, it is announced, or it is not announced, it's not properly announced, but it is reported by multiple NASCAR journalists that North Wilkesboro is coming back to the NASCAR Cup Series, and it's going to be the All-Star Race in 2023. The next day, it is officially confirmed that North Wilkesboro will be hosting the 2023 All-Star Race on May 21st. And just like that, in under a year, we went from North Wilkesboro coming back to life to it hosting a Cup Series race in 2023. When I first made the video a couple months ago about North Wilkesboro having cars on track for the first time in quite a while, I said this is great. It could be a potential, track for NASCAR, but I don't see it happening in the next few years, maybe 5 or 6 years. Boy, was I wrong. North Wilkesboro is back, like 6 months from now, or no, 8 months from now. Sorry, math is difficult. But yes, North Wilkesboro is back. A lot of people are happy. It's a 0.625 mile track. As I said, most recent winner there is Jeff Gordon in the Cup Series. And of course, it replaces Texas Motor Speedway as the All-Star Race. The ultimate irony. Texas replaced North Wilkesboro. Now North Wilkesboro replaces Texas. Yikes. But yes, as I said, it's going to be a 3-day weekend for the races there. May 19th through the 21st. I think they have already been selling tickets or pre-sale or registration. I think it broke the website. So sorry that I'm late on that, but lots of people excited. As I said, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Marcus Smith, Governor of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, that's his name. Steve O'Donnell was at the announcement too, the NASCAR COO, so, lots of excitement about this from old fans, from even some newer fans as well. I'm excited. I never got to see a race at North Wilkesboro. I was not even alive when that last race happened there, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it races. I love short tracks. I don't even know if it's a concern. It has nothing to do with the track. It's just that the next gen so far has not been great at short tracks. I'm sure they'll make improvements though. But anyways, I'm really excited for this move. I think it's a great place to do the All-Star Race. But as I said, they're going to have to change some things. They're going to have to touch up the facilities, make them a little bit nicer, make them a little bit more modern. And then they're obviously going to have to figure out the traffic situation because it was such a mess for some of the races that happened last month. And also they did cancel all the October races. They had planned on having dirt. They had planned on ripping up the current asphalt and putting dirt down to run dirt races there, but they ended up scrapping that idea. But of course, yesterday the big news was North Wilkesboro is back on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. So obviously a very big deal that is happening. Drivers are supporting it, I feel like. I think Kevin Harvick was one of the ones of support. Speaking of Kevin Harvick, oh my. Kevin Harvick, he is not exactly a frequent Twitter user. But yesterday, he remembered his password. And oh my goodness, he just started going off. So it started, the first kind of thing that, he was aggravated after, aggravated is a light word. He was furious after the race at Darlington on Sunday about his car catching on fire and, the dangers of that. As he should be honest. And, well, he was pretty upset, said some words after the race. We talked about that in the post-race video. And then he gets on Twitter on September 5th, which was, I think, the day after the race. And there's the Fox Sports post of Kevin Harvick had a scary moment at Darlington. His car was on fire. Kevin Harvick responded, "Is the caution out yet?" Because, of course, they waited quite a while to throw the caution, and Kevin Harvick was mad at that. That was the first, social media sign that he was upset. NASCAR made a rule change to parts of the car to make it less flammable, I guess, or less risk of it catching on fire. Harvick retweeted that. But then yesterday is where it all escalated. And the weird thing is the first tweet just, didn't have to do with anything. But anyways, it was a tweet about Scott McLaughlin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He's an IndyCar driver for Team Penske. He had just signed a long-term contract extension with Team Penske. He's got a few wins this year. And Kevin Harvick responded, fairly certain that Scott McLaughlin would be pretty good in a stock car as well. Just a random racing thought on the day for the day on Twitter. Someone responded something about you haven't watched him in supercars, and Kevin Harvick said, "I'd say you're wrong." Someone else said, "Would you give him a chance in the Cup Series?" And he said, "Absolutely, Charlotte Roval. Why not?" So suddenly he's responding to fans' tweets, and I've never seen in my 3-4 years on the Twitter, I've never seen Kevin Harvick respond to anyone. Then he starts responding to a lot of other people on everything. People who are correcting his spelling and grammar, people who start talking about Marcos Ambrose, North Wilkesboro stuff, and this is where it gets spicy, the North Wilkesboro stuff. Fox Sports made a post about North Wilkesboro, being the All-Star Race next year, and, that's what they're supposed to do. It's the Fox NASCAR page. They're supposed to give people the news on NASCAR. They're doing everything right. Kevin Harvick. Great week for the sport. No more fires in a badass All-Star Race location. Now let's be aggressive and get to work on fixing the front, rear, and side impacts for the driver's safety. Whew, okay, Kevin. Yeah, so Kevin Harvick obviously still upset with the next-gen car, just the safety aspect of it. And once again, I can't blame him. He has seen one of his competitors, a longtime veteran just like himself, who's been sidelined for almost 2 months now because of a simple spin and hitting the wall, not even a huge crash or anything, and he's been out for almost 2 months with a concussion. Kevin Harvick, I think he's got every right to be mad. I think he's got every right to speak up on it. I know it's not an overnight fix. You know, it's hard to change cars overnight. But it is a concern. It's a health concern. It's a safety concern. These drivers need to be as safe as possible. We've heard tons of drivers complain about the impacts of the next-gen car. Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, as I said, Bubba Wallace. Quite a few drivers have complained about the impacts of the car, and it's a concern. Like, the drivers should feel safe getting into these cars. We have been lucky enough to not have a death in NASCAR in 20-plus years. But there have been injuries, and there's always the danger of stock car racing in any way, shape, or form. There's always the risk of injury. You're never going to be 100% safe. But the numbers I feel like they've gone down over the last 20 years, ever since Dale Earnhardt's death. Obviously, the death rate, I guess, has gone down completely. Injuries still happen, though. Eric Almirola, 2017 at Kansas, that was a freak accident. Same thing with Kyle Busch in 2015. And they made changes based off of those crashes. Denny Hamlin in 2013, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his concussion. So, injuries still happen. You're never going to be 100% safe from it. But when multiple drivers are complaining about how hard these crashes are, or how they're not even that extreme of a crash, but it feels like it is, that's when there's a problem. And Kevin Harvick was voicing his concern. And you know what? Can't disagree with him. He went on to talk about some other things. He said someone started talking about a short track package for 2023, and he said, my vote for the All-Star Race is the 1,000 horsepower package and lots of tires. We have plenty of time to plan. #why not? I would not disagree with that. Then he kind of went on just going crazy. Hell, he responded to a tweet from yours truly, this guy. Yeah, so Kevin Harvick, he's tweeting and stuff, and I responded and I said, Kevin Harvick's tweeted more today than I've seen him since joining the Twitter, and it's amazing. And he said not playing anymore. So yeah, in case you were wondering if Kevin Harvick's playing anymore, he's not playing anymore. And then he started talking about stage racing. Someone said get rid of stage racing, or no stage racing is the exact quote. Kevin Harvick said definitely need to stop throwing the caution for them on road courses. I would say stop throwing the caution everywhere. That's my opinion. I honestly like the idea of stages just because they award consistency. 10 years ago, I'd be watching a race and someone would dominate the race. They'd lead 250 out of 400 laps. Late race restart happens, they get spun, they finish 28th, and they get 28th place points. With stage racing, though, you lead all those laps, you win both the stages, you may get a 28th place finish, but you got 20 points, so that actually gets you a good haul of points on the day still. Sure, it ends up being a bad result, but you got that consistency you had throughout the day rewarded. So, yeah, but as for the cautions, they just ruin the flow, especially at road courses, but I just don't like stage cautions. It burns too much time. And honestly, they should just run commercials only during stage cautions. There should never be a full screen commercial at a NASCAR or on a NASCAR race, because every freaking time there is, something happens. I'm about to get into a rant here. We're going to prevent that today. He kept on talking about 1,000 horsepower, something, looks like he said something about a dirt race at Richmond, and then someone said Kevin Harvick is tweeting like he just bought a charter. And Kevin Harvick responded, not the case, but I'm interested. Could we see another driver owner in NASCAR? We got Denny Hamlin, we got Brad Keselowski, technically Kyle Busch because he owns a truck team. But could we see it? I don't know. But that's the end of Kevin Harvick, his Twitter. So let's talk about yesterday. Last night, evening, I can get you the exact time actually. The NASCAR Twitter for about 30 minutes just went genuinely insane. That's one way to put it. Yeah, Dale Jr., he decided to escalate, I guess, some rumors and reports about Kyle Busch's future. So first, Dale Earnhardt Jr. himself, at 6:40 p.m. Central Standard Time, tweeted a picture of a tree, or an emoji of a tree, finger point, 8 ball. Now, I'm no mathematician, but I think that means Busch to the 8. And everyone, of course, starts losing their minds, losing their marbles, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Dale Jr. just confirmed Kyle Busch is going to the 8 car. So everyone's freaking out, and then everyone's like, oh, what if he's just trying to tease and, get revenge for them spilling his North Wilkesboro news before it could actually be released properly? And, people are saying that. Well then, I kid you not, 38 minutes later, at 7:18 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Woj of NASCAR, Adam Stern, says no media alerts are expected tonight from either Kyle Busch Motorsports or RCR, but RCR is seen as the most likely landing spot for Kyle Busch, not just one of the most likely landing spot. So then after that, everyone's freaking out and expecting some announcement tonight because Dale Jr. just said something, and now Stern is saying something about it. Everyone is freaking out, losing their marbles. Kyle Busch to the 8, this is happening. Like, everyone's freaking out, losing their minds. Well then, Dale Jr., I don't know if he got a text from Kyle Busch that said, like, what are you doing? Or if he just felt like messing around. Then he tweets this. He does Busch, finger point, 32 basketballs, eyeball, ear. Dude. Now he's saying 2311 because 32 has been a rumored number. Every time 2311 wants to expand, 32 is like the rumored number. And of course, basketball, Michael Jordan. So now no one knows where Kyle Busch is going. They're like, is it 2311? Is it RCR? But of course, we talked about earlier this week how there was reports that the top 2 candidates for Kyle Busch are 2311 and RCR. So maybe Dale Jr. is just repeating, but he's trying to scare us. Well, it gets more interesting, because someone had to respond, and not just anyone. Kyle Busch himself, that's right, the driver of the number 18 for now, decides to get on the Twitters, and he decides to respond to Adam Stern's tweet, and he simply says, it is, with 2 shocked face emojis. Dude, I don't even know what to interpret on that. Like, is that supposed to be like sarcastic, like no dip, or is that supposed to be like you're stupid, like this is not true? I don't know, but then he responded to another tweet that said, mix some High Rock with Rowdy energy drink, which of course is Kyle Busch's energy drink and Dale Jr.'s vodka. And he said light bulb emoji. I don't know. I don't know, but it was crazy last night. Kyle Busch, is he going to the 8? Is he going to the 32? I don't know. But Dale Jr. did not help things. Stern did not help things, or calm things down. They did not help calm things down. And then Kyle Busch himself responding definitely did not calm things down. I don't know where Kyle Busch is going. I don't know what he tweeted, what it means. I don't know what Dale Jr. means. I don't know what anything means. I don't know what 1 + 1 is. It's probably like alphabet. Anyways, I'm very lost. I'm very confused. That was a thrilling 30 minutes last night. Yeah, I had to stop what I was doing because that was getting too exciting. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, that's all I got. As I said, sorry that it was a longer video. I just couldn't do it last night. And by the time I could do it, it would have been like an 11 o'clock video. And at that point, just push it to the next day, you know? But yeah, so wild. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. We got a weekend coming up. We got 2 races this week, and we got a NASCAR race, and we got F1 race. Italy and Kansas. So yeah, that should be interesting.